Shalom and welcome to the teaching for this particular day. We are going to cover a subject I know that every one of us at some point in our life, we've had to deal with conflict. And boy, what a broad subject, but we hope over the next few weeks that we're going to be able to break this down to give you some great tools to use in your relationships when you are desiring to work these things out. So Yana, I'm going to let you talk about this or tell us about this. How do we go about resolving conflict that is healthy whenever we are right in the midst of a heated, difficult situation?
Well, unfortunately, we've had our own experiences, or maybe not unfortunately, because conflict can actually be the catalyst to bring forward issues that have prevented relationships from coming close. Sometimes those conflicts just erupt in order to push things forward that have been hidden or people have been afraid to deal with. Now, if you're in the midst of a heated discussion, don't discuss anymore, because the brain waves are in high beta. And when there is the fight desire, the arguing back and forth, or the just forget it, I'm out of here kind of response, either one of those, no resolution can come. The best thing to do is to let the intensity calm down and calm down. Please don't do more damage. It's really the worst decision we can do, Dar. When we're in conflict, is to stay in that fighting, arguing situation, because nothing is ever resolved. No one hears the other person, and more hurt is added to it. So after the situation calms down, and to calm down, there's some things that you can do. Here's some tools that will really, really help you. Number one, if you'll just get by yourself, take some deep breaths. If you can just meditate for 5 or 10 minutes just to begin to reset those brain waves. You've got to come down from high beta down to even medium, or better yet, low beta. And the only way to do that, Dar, is through
breathing. We've got to take some time and just take some deep breaths and breathe. You just breathe it in from the torso all the way up to the brain. Hold it and then relax, and do that about 5 to 10 minutes, and that lowers our brain waves.
Can we do one of those just to demonstrate that?
Absolutely. So what you do is right here in your abdomen area, you've got several groups of muscles there, and you just begin from the lower torso to pull up. So you're sucking it in, and then breathe out, exhale any extra air. And now you're going to, just like a string, you're going to see that string come from the lower all the way up. Hold it. Exhale and relax. Let's do that again. Again, from the lower torso, you're going to contract those muscles, contract them. Exhale any extra air. And now, just like a string, you're seeing it pulled all the way up. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it right up here at the top of the head. Concentrate on that. Exhale and relax. If you will do that about 5 to 10 minutes, it will bring you out of what we call a fight or flight mode, because that's high beta, and it's like a deer in a field that's being stalked or chased by a predator. That deer is not going to turn around and try to befriend that predator. That deer is scooting on out of there and saying, I'm done with this and I'm going to higher ground. So if you will take some time to lower your brain waves, that will bring you into low beta. And I love what you said, Yana. That old saying, contrast shows up to show us what we don't want, so we know what we do want.
And I think that's the next step, that we move from focusing on what we do not want. They said this, and I can't believe he did that, and I'm not cared about, and I'm not one. The more you focus on all of that, even when it's a reality to you, the more momentum grows on that, and the more your brainwaves go up, up, and up. It's not good for the body.
That's right.
It's definitely not good for the relationship. It's not good for your beautiful heart. And so we want to pivot to what we do want.
That's good.
And begin to engage with that. I love the feeling. Now, you're not saying that that person gave you this feeling.
Right.
You're just saying, I myself, I love the feeling of peace. I love the feeling of being cared about. I love the feeling of feeling loved. I love the feeling of being heard. And if you begin to engage with what you don't want, you've moved your energy, which is important to do.
So important.
And you've pivoted your attention. Let me say this. As long as you're focused on the problem, you can't see the answer that shows up at the same moment that the problem does. Another way of saying that, Dar, is as long as you're asking the questions, you cannot hear the answer.
That's good.
We have to pivot from the problem to the answer. We have to pivot from the question to the answer. And it's very true. Science has proven this.
Yes.
That at the moment the problem comes, the answer shows up too. But if we're just focused on the problem and this happened and this hurts and so did this and it's just here I am again, as long as we're in that energy, we are blind to the doorway out through wholeness, lowering our brain waves and pivoting and beginning to see and look at the answer that is right there. As long as we're asking the question and we're focused on the question, should I or shouldn't I? What should I do here? We cannot see the answer that is standing right there. So we don't have to go looking and suffering through this process of trying to find the answer. No, we just have to lower our brain waves, change that energy, and the answer becomes very clear. Now, we have a lot more to say on this subject. You don't want to miss next week because I'm going to give, and Darla's going to give, some very practical steps. Number 1, lowering that energy. Number 2, changing your focus from the problem to the answer. From the problem to the solution, from the question to the answer. But we're going to give you a whole simple, easy process. I use it along with these two all the time for me. And we're going to teach you how to release and let go of anything that bothers you. Oh, it's powerful.
Very.
So don't forget to join us next week. We're going to continue to talk about how do we resolve conflict in a healthy biblical way or Hebraic way.
So good, Yana. And so today, as we close this out, we want you to know there are just a couple of things. In the midst of a conflict, when you are in that heated discussion, your brain waves and that person that you are with, their brain waves are in high beta, nothing will get accomplished.
Nothing.
And so the best thing to do is to separate, do some breathing techniques that we've talked about today, which will bring that down. Because remember, contrast is showing up to show you what you don't want, so that you know what you do want. And then it's the breathing techniques that begin to help bring those brain waves down and shift so that you're able to shift your focus from, again, like Yana said, the problem to the solution.
From what you don't want to what you do want, so that you will be in the place of power of creating what your heart desires. And that's what we want for all of you.
Yes.
To have your heart's desire. Well, I hope this has been helpful. Can't wait to be with you again. For now, we bless you. We say shalom and shalom. And we are the Hebrew Sisters.